Great
This
branding
meeting is
isn't
being
generic. It's
recorded.
personal, intentional, and memorable. Family, get ready to learn how to make your brand not only visible, but unforgettable. Help me welcome Mary Ziegler.
Thanks, Dr. B. I couldn't record. I didn't have the option, so thanks for doing that. All right, let me share my screen here again. All right.
Yeah, you are recording now.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Not sure why this is being weird. Okay. All right. So, hi, my name is Mary. I'm founder of Aunt Myrtle's Designs, and I really work at the intersection of strategy and tangible brand presence. By day, as you heard in the intro, I work in the digital health space for a large health system. And by night and on the weekends, I help business owners build brands that don't just show up in online, they live in the actual real world. My specialty is helping businesses move beyond generic marketing and into intentional, relationship-driven brand strategy using high-quality, purpose-driven merchandise, not random swag, not logo placement, but physical brand touchpoints that increase visibility, brand trust, and anchor a business in someone's daily routine. I believe that branding is not about being louder, it's about being remembered. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So, I didn't start my business because I had some grand entrepreneurial plan. My background's in healthcare, as you've heard, and I started my master's degree during COVID. And I found myself at a 15 on a burnout scale of 1 to 10. I would regularly cry myself to sleep at night. And this was during the time that this thing called TikTok became really famous. And one of my nieces began posting videos on TikTok, and she begged me to watch them. And after a lot of fighting, I said, fine. So one night I was doom scrolling as you do on TikTok, and it led me to find a creator making epoxy tumblers, and I fell in love. I decided that once my master's was over, I was going to create a business and make these amazing epoxy tumblers. And I did just that. And creating really became a way to breathe. Except what I didn't realize at that time is that I wasn't just building tumblers. I was learning how powerful something tangible can actually be. And most brands today are really honestly missing that piece. So I want you to think about the last time that someone gave you something branded. Maybe it was at a conference. Maybe it was after a meeting. Maybe it was a thank you gift. How did it make you feel? Did it feel thoughtful? Was it high quality? Was it aligned with that business? Here's the real question, though. When you later needed that service that that business provides, did you remember them? Now, I want you to think about the swag bag. Think about the last conference or vendor event that you attended. You came home with this tote full of swag. Now, I want you to be honest. How much of that actually made it home long term? What caused you to toss it? Was it cheap? Was it poor quality? Was it something you never used? A giant logo that you didn't want to carry around because it just was kind of ugly? Was it a gimmick that had no purpose? You didn't throw it away because you're ungrateful. Let's be honest. You threw it away because it had no place in your actual real life. That's the important part that we want to remember. That's why strategy matters. It's not about giving more. It's about giving something that earns space in your clients' lives. When your brand earns space in someone's daily life, you don't get tossed. Random swag is clutter. Strategic brand is memory. So you're showing up, but are you being remembered? You're not lazy. You're not inconsistent. You're doing the work. You're posting. You're emailing. You're networking. You're showing up. But I want to ask you something. Does your brand actually exist anywhere in someone's real life? I'm going to pause for a second and let you think about that. If someone closes Instagram right now, where does your brand live? Take a moment and think about that. Visibility creates awareness. Tangibility creates memory. Let's talk about the scroll problem. We're building businesses on rented land. Social media is borrowed space, let's be honest. You don't own it. Your audience is so overwhelmed. Every single day, they scroll past hundreds of messages. And when everything is visible, nothing feels permanent. So most business owners aren't invisible. You're not struggling because of that. You're struggling because your brand doesn't have weight in the real world yet. Your brand doesn't anchor itself into someone's daily routine. So all of this just means that you're under anchored. So let's talk about an exercise that we're going to do really quick here. Grab a piece of paper or scrap piece. It doesn't have to be a full piece. And I want you to write down your answer to these 3 questions. Number 1, where does my brand live outside a screen? Take a moment and write down your answer.
I don't understand that question. I'm so sorry, and I really want to make sure I participate.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So when we talk about your brand, your business in and of itself. So my brand is Aunt Myrtle's Designs. I'm a brand strategy consultant. I also make custom gifts and branded merch for businesses. My brand lives in me wearing my logo on items and pens that I give out to my clients, business cards, that type of thing. So where does your brand in the physical live outside of a screen? Does that help?
Yes, it does. Thanks.
Perfect. And please feel free to interrupt me. I can't really see anybody right now. So question number 2, what physical reminder of your business exists in someone's life? Do you give client gifts yearly? Do you have a strategy for high referral clients? That you give them something, again, yearly? Do you give something to brand new clients? Those types of things. The third question is, if I disappeared from social tomorrow, would anyone still see me? So if Facebook, Insta, all the things went away, how would you still get your business out there? So if visibility isn't the problem and memory is, let me show you a simple framework I use to help businesses build brands that actually stay. So the anchored brand identity framework is something that I use with my clients. It's not to pick products, but to build presence. There's 3 parts to it: daily proximity, emotional imprint, and strategic tiering. So let's talk about daily proximity first. Memory is built through repetition. Remember the exercise we just completed. Where does your brand live physically? Could it be on a desk, on a bag, in a kitchen, in a daily routine? If somebody uses something every single day, that's 365 brand impressions a year. That is why random giveaways don't work, but daily utility does. If your brand doesn't show up anywhere right now, that's not failure. Please hear me say that. That is not failure. It's an opportunity, though. But remember what I just said. If someone uses something with your brand on it every single day, that's 365 brand impressions a year that you paid for one time. So next, let's talk about proximity a little bit further. We don't buy from the brand we saw once. Well, sometimes we do on TikTok Shop. If you know, you know. But we buy from the brand that feels familiar. And familiarity isn't built from one viral reel. It's built from proximity. Okay. So the next part is emotional imprint. So when someone picks up something from your brand, it should feel aligned with your brand. If you want to be known for luxury, your physical brand cannot feel cheap. If you want to be known for warmth, it can't feel corporate. Your brand has an emotional tone, and your tangible assets either reinforce it or they contradict it. And the goal is to reinforce it. So next is strategic tiering. So there's 3 tiers that I want to talk about. And this is one of the biggest mistakes that I see businesses make, is giving everyone the same thing. When everything is for everyone, nothing feels special. Think about a time where a business that you frequent was giving out customer appreciation gifts. You've been a customer of theirs since the very beginning, and you refer all of your friends and family to them. You get the same appreciation gift as someone that used them once and left a bad review. How does that make you feel? Not too great, right? So with strategic tiering, we think about that. How can we have different tiers of gifts or appreciation items? So tier 1 is lower cost, high utility. So this is your visibility tier. Tier 2 is meaningful follow-up. So this is for your relationship builders. Tier 3 is elevated intentional gifting. These are your legacy, your referral partners, the ones who have been with you from the beginning, who support you, are there like cheering you on, referring 10, 15, 20, 25, whatever that number is, that are really like your high value clients. Those are the 3rd tier. And so this isn't about spending more. It's really about distributing intentionally. Okay. So when you're thinking about annual gifts, thank you gifts, customer appreciation, whatever you want to call it, think about it in tiers. So even with new client appreciation gifts, that's would be like your tier 1, your visibility, right? Something to say, thank you, I appreciate you, your business. But that's not something that you're giving to your tier 3 clients, the ones who really are bringing in that referral list for you. Okay. So now let's talk about, my computer froze here. So branding, honestly, is not about putting your logo on things. Okay. Is about anchoring your presence in someone's life. Okay. When your brand lives in someone's real routine, you don't have to shout because you're showing up already. So let's talk about the truth about products. I want to be very, very clear about something. This is not about products. Okay. It's not about tumblers. It's not about pens. It's not about ordering more things. It's about memory. When someone thinks about hiring someone in your industry, does your brand come to mind? That's the real question. And that should always be your goal, to be top of mind. But there's always a risk, right? And it's something we don't really talk a lot about. You can be visible and still be replaceable. And that happens when your brand never moves beyond a screen. Because when someone needs what you offer, they don't always go searching. They remember. So noise requires constant effort. You have to keep producing, keep posting, keep performing, but presence compounds. When your brand lives on someone's desk in the form of a journal or a notepad, in their kitchen in the form of a coffee mug, in their daily routine. You don't have to shout. You're already there. You don't need more noise. You need more presence. So if you're exhausted from constantly trying to stay visible, maybe the solution isn't more effort. Maybe it's building something that stays. I've seen businesses spend thousands on ads and still be forgotten. And I've seen businesses give one intentional high quality item to the right person and create referrals for years. Strategy changes everything. This sounds really simple. Pick something useful, make it aligned, distribute it intentionally. But here's what I see happen over and over. We choose what we like, not what our ideal client values. We go into chat, we go into Claude, and we say, hey, this is my brand. This is what I'm thinking for client gifts. This is what I like. Your client's not you, right? We choose what we like, not what our ideal client values. We copy what competitors are doing. We default to whatever is cheapest, and we skip the strategy step entirely. And that's where money gets wasted. These are the questions that change everything. Where are we losing trust? What emotions should our brand evoke? Who should get what? What's our 90-day goal? But these questions require clarity, and clarity is really hard to create alone because you're too close to your own business. Strategy eliminates waste. When merch is random, it's an expense. When it's strategic, it becomes an asset. An asset builds trust. An asset builds familiarity. An asset builds referrals. Now they feel the difference. Here's a personal story. I have a pen addiction. I'm really bougie when it comes to pens. If I have a pen that writes really well and it has your brand on, you can bet that I'm going to use that pen all the time. And if one of my friends says, hey, Mary, I don't have a pen, can I borrow yours? You can bet that I'm going to let them borrow it probably if I'm in a good mood. But I'm going to say, if you try to steal my pen, I'm going to come after you because I love that pen because it's high quality. Now, if you give me a pen and I use it once and it works great that one time and I go to use it a second time and it doesn't, you can bet it's going in the garbage, and I'm going to think differently of your brand. Quality is everything. So if something in this conversation resonated with you today, I want to offer you a next step. Not more information, not more inspiration, but clarity. What most business owners need is not more ideas. I mean, we're all usually up at 2 a.m. thinking about things we have to do or ideas that come about our business anyway, right? We need a plan though. And that's exactly why I created something called the Brand Vision Blueprint. And the Brand Vision Blueprint is a 60-minute strategy session where we look at your business through an anchored lens. It's not a coaching call. It's not vague advice. And it's definitely not about selling you products. It's all about clarity. The first part of the session, we look at where your brand may be unintentionally losing trust. Maybe it's inconsistent visuals. Maybe you have no physical presence. Maybe your follow-up process disappears after the first touch point. And we ask a really powerful question. If someone held something from your brand in their hand, what should they feel? That question changes everything. Then we refine your target audience, not just demographics, but what do they value? Are they luxury, eco-conscious, practical, community-driven? And then we define your North Star for the next 90 days. Are you trying to increase foot traffic, book more calls, strengthen referral relationships? Because strategy without a goal is simply guessing. Phase 3 is where it gets practical. I want to walk you through 3 easy to implement strategies designed specifically for your business. These aren't random product suggestions, they're tactical strategic moves. At the end of the session, you don't leave with notes and confusion. You receive a custom brand strategy brief within 48 hours that has 3 clear, actionable recommendations tailored to your industry, your audience, and your goals. The entire purpose of the session is to eliminate marketing waste. No random ordering, no more guessing, no more hoping that your brand actually sticks. So I'm offering a limited number of brand vision blueprint sessions. You can scan the QR code here on the screen to book your session. If you have questions at all, my contact information is also here on this next screen. So thank you for your attention, and I will open it up to any questions that you may have.
I have
And
a
this is
quick,
wonderful. Go ahead, Kiki.
yeah, I have a quick question. So, um, what do you find to be the relationship? So I'm a pen thief and I'm about to in healthcare as well. I'm a Medicare broker,
Okay.
uh, and I'm about to start doing the Medicare 101
Yep.
seminars. And I, I I'm providing a little dinner. So I want to keep my costs low. How do you feel about, of course, I want them to take notes, so I'm going to provide the pen, right?
Yep.
But what you're making me think of is, I also don't want to just throw money away. I want them to remember me. And
Yep.
so do you have, not that I would expect you to give me a full strategy at this moment, because I know that that's what we're kind of where we're going, but what are your thoughts on that, just off the top of your head? And what do you see that do you find that these have been working for people, or do you see absolute things that you're like, oh my God, these people need to be thinking about X, especially with you being in healthcare?
Yeah. So great question. And I know you're getting into your busy season, so you have all my sympathy. So honestly, pens are that tier one that I was talking about, right? That visibility. And I always think you will never hear me say to any of my clients, I don't think you should do pens if they are used intentionally, right? So, like you said, you're having a dinner, you want them to take notes. A pen is the absolutely perfect thing because you're providing them with the instrument in which to take notes. And on that pen, I would have your business name and then either your website or your email address, whichever is the best way. I always tell my clients when I make pens for them, don't put your phone number on just because phone numbers are weird. You might get hacked or something like that. Change your phone number. You may have your phone number as your personal number as well. And in the future, you might get a business line. So I always tell my clients, we're not putting your phone number on. But either a website, email address, so that they easily can be able to contact you in 2 weeks or a month when they're ready to enroll for Medicare. So I absolutely, for that dinner, specifically think pens are a great idea, even a branded notepad. And then taking that, just really quickly, a next step further, you could get clients that sign with you or enroll with you that, maybe are returning clients or have referred, something like that, a padfolio where they could take more notes when they have meetings with you or keep their important papers in. I have a estate planning attorney that I work with, and we made her branded clear folders where all of their important documentation go in, and it's branded with her business name and her email and her website. So there's multiple things that you could do that would be low price point, but still quality. I will never, ever give my clients a low quality item. We always, we don't talk about budget first. We talk about audience and what their plan is. And then we would talk about budget because you don't need to go like crazy with expensive stuff. So if you're just starting out, those are a couple of things that you might want to think about, but would absolutely love to chat more. I do offer a free 30-minute strategy session, just kind of just a chat. That if you reach out to me, I can definitely send you the link to schedule that.
I'd love that. Well, and I also took a copy of your QR code, so
Oh,
I'll
okay,
be
perfect.
something for with you. So thank you. That was amazing.
Oh, good. So glad you enjoyed it.
Well, it looks like you have about 5 more minutes. And so, Kiki, you're the one in here because people keep moving around. So, take advantage of Mary's expertise for the next 5 minutes if you'd like.
Thanks, Dr. B.
Well, I would love that, Mary, however you feel, but
Yeah.
feel free to give me a brain dump, sister, because I think that I loved your presentation. I thought it was really terrific, and any questions you have for me that I can help you, but I thought it was wonderful. But yeah, I love that you're in healthcare, so that's certainly interesting. What part of healthcare are you in?
I am the director of digital health for service lines in a large health system here in Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's very interesting. Well, yes, you and I will definitely have our conversation, but
Yeah.
yeah, anything else, top of mind that you're seeing and especially with all the craziness about to ensue with this next enrollment, but I really would like to. I love what you said. I hate just spending money, and we all have way too
Yeah.
many tchotchkes, and I'm done with tchotchkes. And especially, one of my favorite random conversations I had with someone is it was a middle-aged woman. I met her at some fair and I bought some trinket from her, and I said, I really don't, I could definitely live without it, but it's so cute, I'm going to get it, something like that. And she looked at me very seriously and she said, I am so mad at my mother. And I was like, oh, all right, go ahead, share. And she said, yeah, because she never told me that I would work myself to the bone, making enough money to buy all the stuff in my first 50 years that I'm going to spend my next 50 years trying to get rid of.
Oh,
So, which is so true. So my
yeah.
point, especially this audience, they don't want more tchotchkes. They're trying to get rid of them. I want to give them something that they're gonna use and hold on to, and that it has value, and not just spending money for the sake of doing what everybody else is doing. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to working with you. But any other, kind of brain dumps that you want to add here? I know it's being recorded, so
Yeah.
they're
I
helpful
would
to.
really think, Kiki, about that folder idea that I mentioned that my estate planning attorney uses, because I'm sure that you print out stuff for your clients
Yeah,
to give them. And honestly, like, again, low price point, right? We brand it so that, it has your information on it, but it's also a way for them not to lose the stuff that you give them. And they can put it in a safe place, like a firebox or whatever. So that might be a really good idea for you. Think through on that a little bit. Because I'm not sure how you give your information and stuff to your clients now once they sign and everything.
yeah.
But that might be something good for you.
I think that that would be really interesting because I mean, you have the dinners, and here,
Mhm.
we have what we call the plate lickers, if you will,
Yeah.
that come just for the dinner. But if I can say, hey, this is what you get here, and I love the idea of the notepad and the pen, something simple there that they can at least see. But then maybe if they become my client, because I do also do advanced directive work with
Okay.
them and have you as more holistic. And that's really where maybe a folio would be super cool to just kind of gather all of their paperwork and, just even some of these, password protect, the list of passwords if something happens to them, and
Yeah.
people, or how to access their their stuff
Yeah.
should they become incapacitated and need someone to take over their life, for a period of time. So until they recover. So anything along those lines, you and I will definitely be talking, but any thoughts or I would love to, collaborate and just kind of brainstorm with you because I think that that would be super cool. But, I also have to mind my
Yeah.
budget. But it's
Yeah,
something
absolutely.
you
And
get this.
it's not the other thing too that I always remind my clients is you do not have to buy something for everybody, right?
Yeah,
So if you have a budget, which we should all have a budget, let's be honest, like these days, like you need a budget. You don't need to buy 500 of one thing, right? So like if you are just starting out with the Brandon merch things, I have 29 seconds to get this out. Um, Start small and only buy a couple and try it out for 10 of your new clients or something like that.
I love
So we can talk more about that, but just for everybody that's watching the recording, you do not need to go huge. You can start small when it comes to Brandon merchandise just to start.
That's so awesome. Thank you. I really look forward to working with you. I love you're spot on. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.